Hey guys, Dom with Dynamis Alliance. Obviously you can see behind me this fight dummy that you've probably never seen before. It's being made by Virtic Industries, and this is a training dummy that's being utilized by not only guys like myself, but SAOC and other combatives facilities are starting to take this thing on. This is the latest and greatest in fight and combatives training development. This thing is going to change the way we train. It's going to change the way we look at moving in on our targets, whether it's muzzle striking and weapons manipulation if you're law enforcement and military, or if you're just doing combatives or mixed martial arts. No dummy before has had the type of ingenuity put into this thing and the type of flexibility and mainly the arms and the ability to change angles on the arms. And this is a big factor. This is the first thing that's going to grab onto you when you move close into whatever your target is. Whether it's non-compliant or it's somebody that you're fighting in a cage, they're going to have arms and you have to deal with them. So this is just another way to train for that and train like you fight. They're developing several ways to mount this thing. There are mounts on the top of the head, mounts in the back of the head, back of the body, and there's wall mounts. And even today, where we don't have anything out here to hang from, but we were able to utilize a steel target to wrap this thing on, and it's been fine. We can get done what we need to get done. I can still utilize this thing to hit the hands and hit this and kind of give it that realistic feel before I engage a target. So whether this guy has got me in a chokehold or I'm just sparring with him before I end up engaging a target, I'm getting that sensation of somebody's trying to grab onto me, somebody's trying to get in my way of my target that I have to deal with. This may be somebody that's just scared, running down a hallway for their life, grabbing onto you saying, help me, while the guy behind them is shooting everybody. So, pretty realistic scenario. A lot of different options here to mount him. He can sit down, the legs move. You can get this guy in a seated position. You can lay him down, and we're going to do some drills here in a little bit while he's laying down. We'll talk about the arms real quick, and this is probably the best thing right now in development to have to deal with these. So there's 3 different hinge points that you can utilize. You can make the arms go up and down at any angle you want. This is still very rough, but the idea and the concept are being developed at a lightning speed. So I can use these. I can put his arms up. I can change the angle. Now I've got to utilize this, getting in on him, feinting, parrying the jab, doing all kinds of things to clear these hands out of the way. All right, so we talk about cuffing, right? Usually in your combative environment where there's other threats, and just like we talked about before, where we need to put fire down or lay down rounds downrange while we're manipulating another suspect. So if I'm here in the mount, for whatever reason, I had to get the dominant position on this guy to lay shots down, and now I've got to cuff him. Well, the arms are, you can manipulate the arms however you'd like. And just to show the flexibility of this dummy, I'm here, I go cross face, I reach under, just like you would. I start manipulating this guy to roll. And now, with these switches here, I can kind of manipulate his arms however I see fit. Maybe I twist him this way, maybe I go underneath. And they will flex too, so they don't stop exactly where you want. Here, right, knee on back, switch my base. Here, now I've got to get that other arm. Typically this is where you end up fighting guys where you have to do something else, where I have to lay a strike down to get him to give me another hand. Maybe my buddy's tasing him. Whatever the case may be, I got to work for that arm. Just like you would on a real person. Arm stuck underneath. Maybe I roll him to me a little bit. Boom. Here, now I have this arm. You can cuff just the same. And still being in a combative and live range. This is part of my drilling. I can't get this realism out of anything else on the market. Virtic is thinking of all kinds of ways to deal with this. Maybe I have this bent, maybe these arms are in my way, and this is what drill I do. So I'm just going to drill this a couple of times. If this is what we're working on today, where I end up in the garden, I need to take shots. So whatever it is, strike, clear the arms out, here, headshot, boom. Now we're going to change the dynamic of how we're training up close and personal. So if I have a multiple tacker scenario where I've got one guy on me, trying to take whatever it is you came for. And we're gonna go into concealed as well. We're gonna do this in concealed, but right now, law enforcement, military guys, maybe they get wrapped up here where they're not able to get to their weapon. They've got to throw a couple of quick strikes. And maybe it's not this guy pulling his weapon out. Maybe I'm wrapped up with a dude that's trying to beat me down, but I've got guys behind him that are more serious attackers that start producing weapons. Well, now I've got to get shots on them. They're my biggest threat. They've got the guns. I might want to get this guy off me just by shucking him. Maybe he's a younger kid. Maybe he doesn't have as much intent. Whatever the scenario is, it's not unrealistic to think that maybe I just want to shit can this guy and get to a spot where I'm taking quick shots on the other guys. So we're going to run through that drill a couple of times. I'm going to throw a couple of quick shots, get combative, increase my heart rate, and then take shots on the guys behind him. All right, so I have a law enforcement setup on, a military law enforcement. You know, I got the belt rig, I got my weapon exposed. I'm not running from concealed, but that doesn't mean that this isn't a realistic scenario where you're caught under somebody that caught you off guard. They pushed you to the ground. They're on top of you, whether they're beating you down, ground and pound, or they're trying to choke you. Whatever the case is, you need to be able to clear that body, get to your weapon, and take shots, whether it's on him or the multiple attackers that are coming. I love this drill with these arms out here because I have to get these arms off me, and I can manipulate this guy the same way I would a real person. The only thing now is that it's a lot safer to use this guy instead of a real human being because I'm live. So now I can increase my training and get closer to reality, which is exactly what we all strive for all the time, training like we fight. So I'm going to start on the bottom, the most advantageous position for my foe and my enemy. He's going to be on top of me, and I'm going to start the drill. I have to clear him off, take multiple shots, so now I'm increasing the realism. Typically, law enforcement, military, we all know how to get in the guard, so maybe we're here, maybe we're not, but this guy's hands are in my face. I've got to do something about him. My weapon's down here. It's really hard to start reaching for your weapon when this guy's beating the shit out of you. And these hands are actually pretty heavy, so if I drop them down on me, it doesn't feel great. But I've got to get to my weapon, but I got to get him off me first. So the drill starts here, whatever you're doing, short strikes here, rolling them over, whether you're going to your weapon side, manipulating these hands, pushing, getting to your weapon here, boom. Multiple attacker scenario. Maybe you're putting some in this guy. Right, but this is a prototype, so we're not shooting him yet. Maybe he is on top of me and he's in the mount. So now I can do that with him. He's pretty friggin' heavy. Now I can change the arm, the angle of the arms, right? So they're right in my face, right where I don't want them to be. It's not comfortable by any means having him on top of me like this. So you start off in that uncomfortable situation, and you've got to figure it out. You've got to get him off you. You've got to get to your weapon. Now, even worse, his leg is over my pistol. So what am I going to do? Work all the things that you know. If you're good at jiu-jitsu, do jiu-jitsu. If you're good at hammering strikes, start throwing hammering strikes. Get to your other weapons. I've got a blade here. Maybe my blade comes out and I start sticking into his gut, or maybe right into his face. So I'm peeling him out of the way. So if your blade's not there, you've got to get to your weapon, right? So now, maybe I'm eye gouging. Maybe I'm getting fingers in his eyes. I'm trapping that leg here, rolling him over. Boom. Clear. It's not to say that you're not going to have to still deal with that guy, but again, it increases that realism of being able to have a full body on top of you, clearing it and getting rounds down range. So when a lot of people are either fighting or high stress, or even if they're scared, typically what you see is this zombie trying to either push away danger or create space from whatever's happening. So this is a great way to deal with these arms, whether you're trying to get inside of them, you know, you're trying to gain entry here, or you're just trying to clear these hands out of the way and move through. Whatever it may be, you're gonna be able to put it in the position you want to train for, or just train it you know, one of the scenarios we were thinking about already was that my training partner sets the position up, he sets whatever the arms need to be, and I don't know what it's going to be, and I turn around and have to deal with it. You know, maybe it's an MMA, maybe the hands are all the way down, maybe he's not doing anything at all. We were talking about even applications for sports. Football players having to deal with the hands on the line. You know, can they utilize this on the field? Absolutely. So now, instead of beating the shit out of each other and worrying about injuries for the year, now they can beat the shit out of a dummy, and you can pound on this thing and nothing's going to happen. A couple of things that they're developing on that note when you're beating on this thing is that they're putting accelerometers in here. They're putting electronics inside the dummy that are going to help you improve your training. Whether it's speed, whether it's reaction, whether it's your power, you're going to be able to calculate all that. And that's in development. This dummy does not have that. We're focusing on the raw element of how the dummy is operating, how it moves. And we're really excited about getting this to start training with it.